Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer, Corey Freedman. There he is, Cody Delmendo down there. Ryan Herrera will join us later. I know everybody that was on Twitter is probably here to find out what my important announcement is about who you got. We will wait for Mr. Herrera to join us 55 minutes into the podcast, most likely. And,
here we are.
You brought in reinforcements from Stuckey Nation, though. I'm here, everybody. We'll take care of it.
And that there will be a decision made about who you got tonight, but as I was wronged last night, of course, and the night before.
I have an early announcement.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, okay.
We get to 80 viewers on tonight's show. I just tweeted out. I tweeted out earlier.
Whoa.
We get to 80 viewers or more. We're currently at 16.
Live, you mean?
Yeah, 80 live viewers. We get to 80 live viewers, and I will buy someone a random shirt from the CHGO locker. So, tell your friends.
It's dope merch, I've heard.
It is dope merch. Sick trip.
And
Jack Brown,
it has
Team
to
Stuckey.
be
Luke
we have to
wins,
get to
Luke
a
wins. Marcus,
consistent
thank you.
80 viewers. It can't just be 80 and then it drops completely.
That's right.
We need a consistent
heard the
80
man.
viewers for, I will say, at least by the end of the show.
Matt, that was a disappointing game. I don't know how much time we are going to spend on the specific game that was played tonight, because if I had to rank 10 games that I can think of that were total duds, this has to be in the top 10. I don't know if it was the most boring game of the year, but it was in the top 10 of duds.
The Cubs have had, I think, a pretty strong regime, infrastructure change since Aristides Aquino debuted in the league, but they have not figured out how to pitch to him.
No.
Yeah, dude.
31.6% of his career home runs against the Chicago Cubs.
When I sent a tweet
Not
out
great.
from the CHGO Cubs account tonight, if you don't follow us on Twitter and you're here, then I don't know why you don't follow us on Twitter. But coming into tonight, before his 2 homers, his slash line against the Cubs was 275, 344, 688. And his slash line against the rest of baseball, he's hitting 200, on base at 275, and slugging 387. The guy is the classic Orlando Arcia. I don't even know what to say.
When the first one, I think it was the first one, was a tank. Was that the one that went on to way? I mean, that was a tank of a home run.
He just loves to hit against the Cubs, just like Orlando Arcia or Jace Peterson. I can name any other trash can from Milwaukee Brewers that sucks against everyone else except for the Cubs. Aristides Aquino can be one of those except for the Reds, I guess. You know what I mean?
Blauser like Cub killer. Rhonda, we could put that on a shirt. This game was a disappointing game tonight.
That's their 2022 motto.
That would be solid.
It's replaced. It's different here. That was disappointing. Is the new mantra.
It's disappointing here. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Assad? I mean, he's had some decent outings. This was nothing. Was it five plus innings, 4 runs?
And I think, 3 of those were charged to him, but after he had left the game, 2 or 3 of those. So, I mean, they still count on his line, but I think he's been solid.
Eric Uelmen struggled again.
We've talked a lot about, pitching depth and having those guys that maybe come up and down, spot start, fill in for guys, come in long relief. It's good to get these guys a shot. So Assad has been pretty solid, and, it's just, I think, his 4th game here tonight. But it's good to see. It's kind of the point, right? Some of these guys are going to be more exciting and I think have more of a future and ceiling. We saw that with Wisniewski last night, where it's okay, maybe this guy's a future starter, a big-time prospect.
That was exciting.
Yeah, and, it's not always going to be that way, but getting younger guys or guys who don't have major league experience time out there and hopefully, carving out a little bit of a role. It's a worthwhile exercise in a season that has seen some not so worthwhile exercises, right? So I'm always going to be okay with them doing that.
Meanwhile, Eric Uelmen, man, he's really struggled.
Yeah.
He gives up. I mean, most of those runs were charged to Assad, right? But he was the one on the mound whenever they came in, right? And he struggled in Toronto. We talked about it. You know, I sat on the show and was like, you know, what's the point? These games don't matter. Like, he's young. He's got the stuff. We just got, you know, he's got to go through the growing pains, stuff like that. You know, I mean, a week isn't going to change my opinion on that, but it's not encouraging. Like, I don't feel great. Like, do I feel good about him going into 2023? No. Do I think he's part of, you know, being part of a winning ball club? I want to think so, because I do like the bullpen arms this team has been able to bring up this year and show some promise. But, yeah, he's struggling right now. Brandon Hughes also struggled when he first came up outside of his first appearance. Like, I want to believe that he's going through the growing pains and he's going to figure it out. And hopefully maybe he figures it out before the end of the year, gets on a nice little run, and, you know, maybe things will change going into 2023. But, yeah, right now it's just not been good for him. The walks have really killed him, giving up a lot of hard contact on top of it. So, I don't know.
Got to adjust. I mean, you know, I mean, like, who knows, right? Like, he's 26. Right. He was really good in AAA this year. And, you know, it's what is he at right now? Like 18 innings. So, you know, some of these guys are learning how to pitch in the big leagues. And, you know, his ERA has ballooned up to near 6 now. But, again, that's kind of the point, right?
David,
like, just get these guys
that's
innings.
What Max is saying, too. He's saying these guys drawing conclusions on short MLB stints. I don't know if he means us. I don't know if he means the chat. I don't know if he means the Cubs. But I think what he's saying is factual. The Cubs are doing it. We're doing it. The chat is doing it because we have no other choice. They didn't get the opportunities, some of them early in the season. They're getting the opportunities because you traded 4 guys away from your bullpen. So now guys are getting that opportunity. And that's the tough part about baseball in the business. Like, they're not going to get a huge sample size to prove themselves necessarily.
David has a good comment, too. He says Uelmen's earn average before the Toronto series was 2.25. So, yeah, it's not been good of late. Before that, there were signs of him looking like a multi-inning reliever. I think I talked about that last week when he gave up those runs that allowed the Blue Jays to come back and beat the Cubs. Like, you know, tonight it was a little bit different. It was a tie game, or the Reds led by 1, whatever. I don't know. But it's just he's not someone that I think that we need to just completely give up on yet. Not with this pitching infrastructure that the Cubs have developed. And if you don't want to believe in the pitching infrastructure, then that's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to Cub. That's how we are here. But, like, if you don't want to believe in it now, then you're never going to believe in it ever. And if you want to be that miserable, fine. That's fine. That's you. You want to be pessimistic? Fine. But I'm all I can tell. If you want a different excuse, like, I'm not going to give you a different excuse. Like, I'll give you a different excuse in July of next year if this team sucks. But that right now, that's all I got. That's all I can give you.
I think, like, you know, this is all you're talking about, the pitching infrastructure. Like, yeah, like it sucks to watch someone like Uelmen struggle right now, but these are valuable data points, right? And it's better to do this now than hopefully next year when they're competing, right? So you take this information, however he does, say he ends the year with around like 30-ish innings. Like, you look at that in the offseason, you go into spring training, and you try to see if you can form that into a useful major league reliever, right? Like, there's plenty of relievers that have come up and struggled in their first 20 innings in the big leagues. I'm not saying that Uelmen's going to be the future closer, but part of this process, and it's true with guys like Assad, it's going to be true with Wisniewski, it's true even with Steele and Thompson, and we've talked about that a lot. Yes. Like, this doesn't have to be the final form, but you're getting valuable information about what do these guys do against major league hitters. How do their pitches play against major league hitters? Things like that. You take that information, you get into the pitch lab, right, with Hottovy, Craig Breslow, all these very smart guys that Brendan looks up to and aspires to be, and you see if you can turn some stuff out, right? Like, I think of all the things, like, I trust, to your point, like, I trust the pitching infrastructure more than basically anything in this organization. I think, like, those guys know what they're doing. They're working at, you know, some of the forefront of the league and how they're approaching data and all of that. So give it a chance. Not all these guys are going to work. That's okay. It makes sense.
I just found myself in a 7-1 game against a team that was, I don't know, what are they? Together, there are like almost 50 games out of first place combined. And I thought to myself, how am I going to get interested in the Cubs right now? And so I started thinking about the future. And, we'll talk about PCA and some of the other guys. And then I looked up on one of the other monitors here at CHGO, and I saw Aaron Judge hit number 55. And we've talked a lot about other guys for free agency. I got to tell you, the one that gives me goosebumps is actually Aaron Judge. 55 homers, the next highest guy in baseball, Schwarber at 36. He has almost 20 home runs more than anybody else in baseball in a season where nobody can hit home runs. Guys, this would be Sammy-esque if you could put Aaron Judge in a 99 running around the bases at Wrigley Field. We keep saying, what jersey are you going to buy? What's the next Cubs jersey you're going to buy? They sign Aaron Judge, 99 is going to be all over Wrigleyville. He is a sideshow, not just a baseball game going on, and he helps your team win. What were the numbers about the WAR and all that you were looking up?
I think as of recording this, he's like an 8.9 win player, which is quite a bit.
Basically a 9 WAR player, yeah.
I mean, and Michael's saying steroids. The guy's enormous. He's super tall, and by the way, Cody doesn't care what it is.
I say we should bring steroids back. That's just my opinion. Steroids save baseball.
I'm all about it. We've talked about Correa. We've talked about
You need an obvious shirt that says pro steroids. Yeah.
There you go, Joe. Steroids save baseball.
Bring them back.
Bring them back. And then give one to Ricketts.
And
he should be the first one to own one.
Wesley, I'm not saying I can imagine him signing here. He will go where the money is the most. Period. I guarantee he goes where the biggest deal is. Unless Cincinnati offers him $5 million more than somebody else, then yes, okay, he won't go to Cincinnati. But if the Cubs offer him more than the Yankees do, he will go to the Cubs. And they've been saving cash now for multiple years. Fill up the back of the truck, take it to Aaron Judge's house. Give me Aaron Judge.
Luke wants to see some
on a 5-year deal, real high.
We would get some, I think, like Glenn Allen Hill-esque Waveland into the buildings type shots. Yeah,
he might Dave Kingman over the scoreboard.
Look, I'm into it. We talk about all these guys. I'll be happy if they spend money on any good players. If we're debating which of those players to get, I'll be thrilled, right, after the way that some of these off seasons have gone. So you can debate the merit of certain guys. I think Correa's one of the hot names. Xander Bogaerts, Trey Turner, if he isn't extended by the Dodgers. I'm in for all of it. If we're, going to get down to the nitty gritty, I'd probably have to think about it. I do love.
Go ahead and think about it.
I do
That's
love
what I'm saying.
Like,
Braggs is saying Ohtani, and our new teammate Braggs. The reason I'm not saying Ohtani necessarily over Judges, you don't have to give anything
just
up
money
other than Tom Ricketts cash.
Yeah,
not my money.
I'm all for. They should do all of it. Sign Correa, sign Judge, trade for Ohtani. There you go. 2023 champs. Put it in the books.
So if you had $350 million and you could get one of those guys for $350 million, who do you want? Or trading for Ohtani?
Correa.
Luke is going full Kaplan. Take that, Nick. Take that.
I do like Correa. I really like Trey Turner, honestly. Would I take him over Judge?
No way.
Probably not, but I don't know. Like, if Judge hits 70-something home runs, that contract is going to be massive. It's not my money. I'm happy to give out Ricketts' money, but, Trey Turner might just be more feasible. I love, the speed, and, I think him and Nico up the middle would be really something.
Our new teammate, Greg Braggs, wants Ohtani. Cubs seem to have the right pieces for a good offer. I'm with you. I'm if I can change my answer already. I'd go Ohtani if I'm doing that, but I don't think he's going to be available.
I'm all into getting Ohtani and trading for Ohtani. I just don't want to totally deplete the farm system to get him. But am I into trading for Ohtani this offseason? Yes. But it's way easier to just spend money. than it is to give up those guys. You can keep that entire farm system and Nico Horner and just add Aaron Judge to the lineup as a DH.
Perhaps.
David Elliott's going to make 50 more accounts so we get to 80.
Michael Watson.
I also like
extension.
I also like Daniel's comment. He says, prefer a trade package for Ohtani rather than a bidding war for Judge. Also, lost a ton of respect for Corey, or maybe he meant Cody, with his steroid stance. Fair enough, but shake my head. Hey, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just giving you my 2 cents. Or maybe it was Corey's stance. Are you a steroid guy?
You're the one that said
I'm
the
steroid
thing.
guy.
Well, now that I know
he said Corey.
Now that I know like respect is on the line, I'm not saying anything. You'll never get my take on steroids.
A lot of people don't respect.
People
me.
lost respect for me a long time ago.
Yeah.
Listen, there's nobody like
the
Ohtani in the game, and there's nobody like Aaron Judge. They're the two guys that stand out where you're like, nope, nothing like him. Can't find another player that even closely comps to him.
Judge is one of those players, too, who I think, he does fit, I think, a lot. And Jed has talked about this recently in terms of adding power and needing to slug, and that's kind of what this offense has lacked. In the last offseason, some of the trades, some of the things that they've done, they've prioritized contact, which, of course, is what was sorely missing at the end of the last good era of Cubs baseball, the golden era, if you will. And Judge is one of those players where you look at like how Nico plays the game, what role Nick Madrigal has next year, we'll see. But like contact-heavy guys, you mix in a lineup where Judge is blasting 50-something home runs, maybe more, right? Like that, it's a nice balance of the tools of the game of baseball. So I look, I'm all for it.
Madrigal, Nico, Suzuki, Judge.
Right.
Okay.
It
you could
sounds
be
good.
looking at a 3-run homer every first inning.
Sounds good.
Right? No, I mean, okay. So we all agree.
Sure.
You would spend lots of money on him. I'm just curious. Kevin would said it as we were talking about it during the game. Maybe you thought Correa.
I think Correa, just for the sole fact of if you're going to spend $300 million on a player, which Judge is going to get $300 million, Correa is going to get probably $300 million.
Can the people hear you, Kevin?
Yeah, I got my mic.
Okay. Just making sure.
You're going to want to spend it on a 5-tool player. I don't think Judge is a 5-tool player. He's not. I know he's not a 5-tool player.
But he's so exceptional at hitting.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
And you have the DH now that it's kind of like, so what if he's not out there making catches? If you can still play him every day and he can hit two bombs. He's
also not like, this isn't like, Jorge Soler out there. Like, I think he's a decent, he's got a hose too. But I do know what you mean. Part of the reason that I say like Trey Turner, I bring up Correa or even Bogarts, like that just seems like the most likely direction to me. I don't know why, but like I just think given the way their outfield is, a lot of their big prospects are outfielders. Like I kind of just feel like a middle infielder or a third baseman is what they end up doing. But hey, I am more than happy to spend Tom Ricketts' money on nine win players that are going to hit 70 home runs or 60-something home runs. Please do.
I'm curious what Niren thinks. Niren says Correa is overrated. Look at his OPS. Niren's always got some facts to back up his opinion.
His numbers are underwhelming this year, no doubt. Like it's almost at a point where I'm like, why opt out? He's making $35 million this year. Might as well play one more year.
What's the best stat for evaluating a guy? WAR? You like WAR?
I mean, it kind of depends what we're talking about. I think
for this team, let's just say, I mean, if it's WAR, it's not even close.
Right, for this year.
Like
he's
Judge
a 3-WAR
is like
player
double
this
everybody.
year. He was a 6-WAR player last year. He's been a 5-WAR or better player twice in his 6-year career.
He could be an 8-WAR guy, 8+ guy twice.
But the difference between Correa and Judge outside of their position is Correa is 27. Judge is going to be 31 next year.
Well, it's also, how they're providing that value.
World Series
Correa is a great
experience,
defender.
too.
Yeah,
on the middle infield.
Correa's getting some points for defensively.
Right.
No question about it.
So
you're definitely getting more than just the offense from Correa. You're getting defense. I think you're getting leadership. I think you're also getting leadership from Judge, too. He plays in a tough market. Has to deal with, very, very, very tough media. I think it's a lot tougher than Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of those factors go in. Correa, on the other hand, he's never really played in a market like New York or Chicago. How he would play in them, I don't know. Does he want to play in them?
Well, I mean, he did have
assume.
to deal with, I mean,
Well,
he was part of
to do
it,
with
but, it was a pretty serious, media
right,
thing.
Right.
So.
And he honestly looked bad during it the entire time. But as the guy here,
he didn't shy away from it.
Right.
You can say what you want about how he handled it, but he certainly didn't shy away.
Yeah,
from it.
he definitely stood up for his teammates. I will give him credit for that. He did stick up for his teammates, especially Altuve, and I respect that. Even if it is for that situation, I will respect that.
So Michael saying pitching. Niren says make no move that blocks trading for Ohtani, or do you mean waiting for Ohtani to hit free agency?
I don't think that happens.
So me either, because any team that's going to trade for him is going to sign him into a deal. So
we'll see.
We talked about.
I love
this.
Ohtani too, but it just costs you more.
We talked about this when we were watching the game. Pitching. Of course they need pitching. It's not as readily available, right? In terms of maybe what they're going to be looking at. There are a ton of those middle infielders. Maybe if the Yankees don't keep him, Aaron Judge will be on the market. There's not a plethora of number one starters that are just going to be available for you to sign. So maybe they go out and trade for not Shohei Ohtani, somebody to go atop Marcus Stroman in this rotation. But I agree with Michael. If the market were there, if there was a 2014 December John Lester deal to be made,
yes,
that's what they should be doing.
Agreed.
But I don't think it's sitting there.
No, we went through the list of guys. John Lester's not sitting out there in free agency.
Well, he's one of one, so of course he's not.
Well,
but
sorry.
Excuse me. John Lester type.
Yes.
I'm looking at the unrestricted free agents list tonight, and I mean, Sean Manaea was the one that really stuck out. A lot of these other guys that we've talked about over the last few months, they all have to opt out, and we all believe that they're going to, like Carlos Rodon or a Jacob deGrom, whatever. But we don't genuinely know at this current moment. So when you look at the actual, yes, they're going to be unrestricted free agents. Yeah, like Sean Manaea is really the only one that I'm like, I'd take a fly. I'd take him. He's not a number one, but I'd take him in this rotation that the Cubs have. So, that's where I'm at on the pitching. As far as free agents, it's a very tough to look at and be like, this is what the Cubs should go and do whenever they have a slew of issues that they need to fix. And it can really be fixed very fast or very easy, but
Wesley wants Daniel Norris.
Oh, yeah, baby. Daniel Norris. I can't believe we just said that name on this podcast 2 nights in a row.
Niren's talking about media deals if they had Ohtani and Seiya. Well, I mean, first of all, your marketing would go through the roof.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
There's obviously a lot more of money coming back because of that. Just depends on what you have to give up. That's going to be so exciting to see what happens. That is the story. Mike Trout, if Mike Trout gets traded, would be a huge story too. But what happens with Ohtani is like LeBron making the decision.
Yeah.
It's almost that big.
Yeah.
Now, one guy makes a bigger impact in basketball, but Ohtani is going to be real similar to that. Soto was big. The Soto deal was big, but Ohtani, because he pitches too, and is like he's any team's number one, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Cody, what are you doing with PointsBet? We got the NFL season starting.
Hey.
College season's off and running.
You should go listen to CHGO Bets Daily. Me and Sean Anderson from CHGO White Sox did a Week 1 preview today, kind of going through the lines. Very fun to finally talk about the NFL. So go check that out. We got plays for tomorrow. I got a prop bet that I'll tell you about later. Anyway, we do it. We do the show because we're good friends with PointsBet. PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until the football season with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sign up for PointsBet now using code CHGO to also get risk-free bets up to $2,000. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. If you make a $51 or more first-time deposit, receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. Download the PointsBet app today and use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. Don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear. Get tons of compliments on and off the course. They are a family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and even our favorite beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag. Keeps the drinks cold the entire round. Check out pinsandaces.com. Use the code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order. Get free shipping as well. That is pinsandaces.com. 7 beers
That's a
right
new
in the
one.
golf bag.
I haven't heard that one.
7 Busch Lights.
Ooh,
Nice and cold for
nice
Cody.
and cold.
Ice cold.
Ice cold.
Or some Miller Lights. Miller Lite guy, too.
Whatever you choose. Just back to the chat real quick. David Snyder says no to Ohtani. What was the reasoning there? Most recent thing on the chat. Why is David out on Ohtani? He will cost the most. He's older, not worth it. Judge,
he's definitely
keep him.
worth it.
Correa, hope we do not get him. Bogarts and Turner are the guys. It's bold.
I think the Bogarts thing caught fire because he's willing to play third base, and a lot of people like Nico at short. I think that's why Bogarts seems to be, he's a guy he's got experience at both, can play both. I wanted to talk quickly about Carlos's. Real quick, double back on the pitching. Tyler Glasnow signed a 1-year deal, correct? Like
He signed a
25 million.
1-year extension with the Rays.
Sign me the F up for Tyler Glasnow if he's available next year and doesn't re-sign with the Rays.
I mean, that's a next year. We'll be talking about that next offseason. But, yeah. He was a guy that I was hoping that maybe the Rays would try to move at the deadline.
Yeah.
And when the Cubs were in talks with them for Wilson Contreras, I was like, oh, maybe Tyler Glasnow is a guy they can get. And then that would have been something that if they traded Contreras, I would have found a way to accept it because at least there's some high upside with a guy like Tyler Glasnow.
There's been a couple of those. He signed, I think, a midseason extension, and so did Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
And both of those, when we're talking about pitchers being available in the market, those were the guys. Like the Musgrove thing in particular was one where it was like, shoot, like that would have been a pretty obvious target for the Cubs. So, a couple of those guys that would have been on that market they've been taken care of.
Glasnow's on a team that loves to deal for prospects, though, too.
Yeah, but usually the old adage is if the Rays make a deal with you, you probably should not have done it.
Yeah, deal. Yeah.
Pirates are a good example there, which should feature the Tyler Glasnow.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Pete Crow Armstrong, Midwest Player of the Month, slashing 356, 417, 535. So in the spirit of what we were talking about, Mr. Aaron Judge, if you have to protect one Cubs prospect from being traded this offseason, who is the one prospect you're protecting?
You go.
I just wanted to, Niren corrected us in the chat about Glasnow. He 1-year extension. He's last year of arbitration next year, and then his 1-year extension. So he'd actually be a free agent in 2025, not 2024. My bad.
Bringing the
Thank you,
facts.
Niren. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good
story. That's right.
There you go. I need put that on a shirt too, obvious shirts. Thank you.
Cody's
Anyway,
just
go
printing
ahead. I'm
shirts.
sorry.
So if you had to protect one Cubs prospect from being traded, who would it be? I'm going to let you protect only one guy out of all the prospects they've added up now.
I mean,
a year ago, you would have said Brennan Davis.
If I were
plain and simple,
if I were positive that Brennan were coming back, and I mean he appears to be healthy by all counts, but obviously back injuries are pretty serious, right? And hopefully this was not it was a specific one, didn't involve like the discs or anything like that.
Careful there.
But I would say now it's probably PCA. It's close for me. Those are the two guys, when we talk about this stuff, like if they're making big trades, if you told me they're going to trade for Ohtani, here's the players, I'm probably just going to, if I'm in control, I'm giving it the green light. Yeah, do it. Bring him to me. But PCA, like if I'm picking one, I think is that guy right now.
Niren says Corey Patterson.
Yeah. Elliot says Matt Mervis. Okay.
I like the chat saying Matt Mervis because I didn't say it over there earlier when we were kind of talking about it, but like Matt Mervis, if you put his numbers up to 2014 Chris Bryant, they are literally almost the same. I know he's not in the top 100, but like that has to go a long way in my opinion. I don't know. And the only reason I say Matt Mervis is because if you're going to make a trade for a guy like Ohtani or whoever, you're going to have to give up one or two of those top 100
Right,
prospects.
that's what I'm saying. Okay, tell them you could protect one of them, but they can have their pick of the other guys.
Right.
I'm.
You gotta. In my thinking, you have to keep those 3 top 100 prospects that the Cubs have. You have to keep them open to whoever, and that's why I say Mervis because he's not in the top 100. I mean, he's made a huge jump and whatever. That's why to me, like those 3, you have to be able to be willing to trade one of them. I don't want to, but I'm just saying like that's my thinking behind it. That's why I say Mervis has again numbers insanely similar to 2014 Chris Bryant, minor league player of the year, went on to be MVP, World Series champion, all that good shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's going to be the next Chris Bryant, but I'm just saying he's on a nice track.
We should save this because to me it sounds crazy based on what you hear about PCA and Brennan, but it is not crazy because prospects are so erratic and irregular and you don't know what to expect. You could be sitting here in 4 years and be like, how did we not say Mervis? You could.
I mean, Mervis has obviously been great. The only reason that I'm not in that camp in terms of like I'm unwilling to move him or he's one of the guys I'm protecting is just because, you know, he's done this for 1 year, right? He doesn't have that pedigree. When we talk about someone like Chris Bryant, like he had done that at every level, you know, top draft pick, first round draft pick, goes through every level, just does it. This is just who he is, right? He's like destined to do exactly what he did in 2015, 2016. Like Mervis has been out of control this year. He's got a 976 OPS, right? Like it doesn't need convincing on that. But I just, I need more time, hitting like this before he's in that category to me of no chance I'm moving him, just not in that category for me yet. That doesn't mean I don't think he's going to be good or that he's having an unbelievable year, right? I just think that's, kind of a different category. But like I said, I'm not sure how – I'm not typically a, prospect hold on to type of guy.
Right. You're okay when they trade him because they're prospects.
Yeah. If I'm answering the question right now, I'm saying PCA. A year ago, it would have been Brennan Davis. But, depending on who we're talking about, I'm probably saying, yeah, sure. Trade whoever you want.
Right.
Go improve the big league team right now. We'll deal with feeling guilty. I'm not bothered. We can debate the merit of the specific trade, but I don't get bothered watching, Dylan Cease pitch and pitch really well. They made a trade. They thought that the trade was going to help them.
I'm the only one who does. Okay.
It's okay to think they didn't make a good trade at the time, but 6 years later, 5 years later, I'm like, whatever. They tried to win a championship. I'm always going to support them trying to win and support the current big league team.
I am currently there. I am there with you too. I'm just. It doesn't make it any easier for me to watch him shove and be in the AL side.
No, I do get that. I definitely
you see
get
more
that.
of them than you care to see, really.
Yeah,
so
we do work with people who remind us that he came from the Cubs.
It's added icing on the misery of the 2022 season for me. Yeah. So anyway, I get what you're saying. You shouldn't let the hindsight of a trade affect how you feel about a potential trade down the road, and that's how a front office should be operating too. I feel that the Cubs front office doesn't feel that way, or try to. And if they are, then that's a big problem, to be honest. But I mean, there's no signs that show that they've been willing to trade with the White Sox again and stuff like that. So I get what you're saying when it comes to Mervis has only had one really good minor league season. Blah blah blah.
But it's
PCA
very good.
Was literally he didn't even go to college, right? He was a high school guy. And
Mervis?
Or no, PCA.
Oh, PCA.
PCA was a high school guy, drafted literally in the first round. Mervis would have been drafted, but he was in 2020, so who knows where he would have been drafted. So, there's a lot different there for sure. He wasn't like a a number 2 overall pick like Chris Bryant. Like I get what you're saying.
So adjust the question just slightly. Would you rather protect Brendan Davis, PCA, Alcantara, Mervis, those 4 guys, or would you rather protect Nico Horner, the best player on your team?
If I don't say Nico Horner, I'm going to have a problem when I go to record with Brendan again. So
I will just.
It's a difficult question.
If
Nico had done this for like 3 years, I would 100% say Nico.
Yeah.
I think I still say Nico because he's the only one that's done it at the major league level.
Well, and that's the key. If you're making a trade to improve the major league roster, Nico is the person who's currently doing it at the major league roster. Some of these other guys are a few years away. So you have a proven commodity, if not over several years, but a currently proven commodity versus guys who are not there. And you even think back to like that last group of the core and even the prospects beyond the core in 2014, 2015, 2016. Like there were a lot of discussions. Should the Cubs trade this guy? Should they trade Almora? This and that. And Theo admitted that one of the things he wishes he could have changed was not holding on to some of those guys sometimes, which is sort of kind of like the conversation we're having, right?
Right.
If you hold on to these guys and believe all of them hit their ceiling, right, do you regret doing that? You can regret that just as much as trading them.
I see that a Brandon Myler has chimed in saying, careful. Would your partner trade
Ryan.
Nico Horner for Ohtani straight up?
I don't think Brendan would trade Nico for anything.
He wouldn't
I
take
really don't.
Ohtani? Come on.
He would. He better.
Come on.
Speaking of Team Ryan,
Team Ryan is here.
he's here.
Cody, Hey, Ryan, real quick, Cody's going to give us the pick of the week.
Oh,
give us your hot
buddy.
points bet pick of the week.
Oh, my God. I've been waiting to tell you guys. I'm riding Allen Robinson over 65.5 yards receiving tomorrow. Over 65.5 yards receiving tomorrow. Like
Wow.
Bills, Rams, one of the top corners for the Bills is out tomorrow. Last name's White. Forget his first name. Kevin, correct me if you know that name.
And Allen Robinson is going to try this year.
Yeah, and Allen Robinson's going to try. He's like in a new system and a new offense completely. Like they're in a dome, so you don't have to worry about weather. It's going to be high scoring. The over-under is at like 52.5 points or something like that. There's going to be points scored tomorrow. First game of the NFL season. The NFL is going to be telling the refs to, just let things go. Allen Robinson over 65.5 yards.
What name was I supposed to correct you on? What'd you say?
The cornerback for the Bills, the most well-known.
Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, yeah.
No, not quarterback.
No, corner.
Cornerback.
Is it Tre'Davious White?
Yes, Tre'Davious White, but he might be injured though.
That's what I'm saying. He's out.
Yeah,
so
he's
that
out.
does the Bills secondary is not great going into week 1.
I like it.
So I like Allen Robinson over 65.5 yards. I think you get it minus 110 or minus 115 on points bet. Sometimes it's just nice to win one, and I feel like that will be one that we'll just be like, it's just nice to win one, guys.
Stan Miller wants to bet that he'll drop 2 passes.
Stan Miller is part of Team Stuckey, and
He's a member of Stuckey
Stan
Nation.
Miller is-
Absolutely.
He's just
He was at the town hall meeting today for Stuckey Nation.
That's right.
That's right.
Heck of a person.
The Stuckey Nation, the dictatorship, me and Cody are the resistance from Stuckey Nation. Me and Cody are like Luke Skywalker, Han Solo. We're the resistance.
Right.
Luke is Darth Vader, and Corey's the Emperor Palpatine in the background, controlling everything.
I'm just an impartial, member of Stuckey Nation. I voted last night in the YouTube chat. I looked at the stats. Ryan, what do you want me to do?
You didn't look at Brendan's stats.
Stan, Ryan the fraud has joined the room. Wow.
Holy
the
shit.
daggers are out.
Heated.
Wow.
It is heated.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, when he started calling himself Luke Skywalker, that was a little.
Funny story about Ryan. So I rode home through Wrigley last night just for fun because, Cubs coming off the win in Wisniewski and everything. So I decided to ride through Wrigley. I'm going down Clark and I get up to where you live, your neck of your street. You live on Grace, right? I get up to that corner.
Knows that now.
Publicizing that.
Sorry. You live on that street. You live by the obvious shirt store. Fine. I've
tweeted that. It's fine.
And I'm going past it, and there's Ryan in his Charger just like hanging out, waiting for the light to change or waiting for me to go by so he could turn to go home.
Yeah.
Were you revving the engine in neutral?
And he saw me, and he's like, I'm like, hey, as I'm like speeding by at 15 miles per hour.
I almost took him out on the street too. I was like going, and he had to like go around a couple parked cars, so I had to like quickly swerve around him just to avoid it. It was a fun night, especially after winning Who You Got.
What was the hot topic tonight in the clubhouse? David Ross. What should we know that was said after what I called one of the 10 most boring games of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was very quick post-game. Ross, Assad. Not a whole lot to say about that. I mean, it was obviously Assad's worst start of the year. What did he end up with? 4 earned runs? Five
innings or 5 1/3 and 4 runs?
I can check real quick. It was 4 and 5 1/3. Yeah, 4 earned runs, 5 1/3. Which that like weird earned run thing that happened after he got taken out. Like, I don't know. If someone wants to explain how that unearned run became an earned run at one point, I didn't get it. But I know Ross complimented his ability to hit the sinker inside on hitters. So that was kind of his bread and butter when he was going well. It was kind of that leading him. But obviously, just overall, the way it ended after a few good innings, it obviously just didn't end the way that his first two starts were good. This one wasn't. So it's kind of one of those back to go. Take this time in between starts. If he kind of stays in the rotation another time or two, go through these starts, go take this time between starts and figure out what went wrong, figure out what he needs to do better. Because there was a point during this game, like the first 3 innings basically, where he looked good except for that home run to Aquino. So I think it's just figuring out what's working for him when he's at his best and making sure he's kind of honing in on that, because for a guy that's, I think, kind of at this point still competing for a 40-man spot, trying to get his name on that 40-man spot when the Rule 5 draft comes in the offseason. I think he's a guy that really needs to kind of bounce back the next few opportunities he gets. If it's in the rotation, if it's back out of the bullpen, it's just kind of one of those things where he can't really afford to get blown up on with so little time left in the season.
Don't you guys, I think I mentioned it last time they pitched. You have Sampson going in the series finale tomorrow. I feel like those two guys are fairly similar, and the Cubs may have to choose between one of them for the 40-man. I think that's a possibility. Though it comes down to some names like that. Like, not that they aren't valuable pieces. They are valuable pieces, but you can't keep all those guys.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Assad's significantly younger than Sampson, so I feel like that's one reason why you'd probably choose him over Sampson.
Sampson's a little bigger sample size.
Yeah, and that's the thing that helps him. But I also feel like, no team is going to be clamoring for Sampson. You probably could just sign him to another minor league deal or whatever, throw him back down in Iowa, and is that how it can work? Like, if you don't put him on the 40-man, you can still just send him back to Iowa next year if you sign him to a minor league deal.
Yeah, well, they'd have to DFA him
or DFA him,
40-man, and that's where it's like teams can claim him, like all these other things can happen, and then if just no one picks him up, he can. Well, I want to say he may be at enough service time. He may not be. I need to look at what the exact number is, but we've talked about it before, where if a guy's at a certain amount of service time is when they can elect free agency. Sampson may not be at that point yet, but he may be close. I don't know. So if that is the case, he's over that service time threshold. If the Cubs DFA him, no other team picks him up. If the Cubs outright him to AAA Iowa, but he meets that threshold, then he can obviously elect free agency. But I'll have to look into where he's at in terms of that level.
As we've all learned, I'm really bad at this roster shit. So,
well, Matt in the chat has the great point that Ryan Poles might claim him, because Ryan Poles and the Bears have been just claiming everybody.
Yeah.
They just want to claim everybody right now. Should we take care of tonight's Who You Got?
I have one question.
Oh,
just a quick one for Ryan.
Excuse me.
Well, I mean, I want to get to Who You Got. I want to
thought
talk
you'd wanna
about
get right to
yesterday's,
it.
and I also want to talk about who won tonight, Ryan. But I do have a Cubs question for you. Morel's playing third base more lately. Obviously, he played a lot of center field. We saw him at second base when he first came up. The throws at third base. Obviously, he had the error tonight. Also had one that P.J. Higgins at first base kind of bailed him out. As Ross talked about the kind of move, obviously with Wisdom out for this prolonged period, has he talked at all about the move to third and kind of getting used to the position again? Obviously, he's played there before, but some of these throws are pretty aggressive. So,
Yeah, well, I think the move to third obviously is like all comes down to Wisdom being out for a while. 'Cause I think his first start, Morel's first start, he debuted this May 17th. I think May 18th was his first start, and that was at third base. But other than that, until Wisdom got hurt and he kind of was filling in at third base every day, he didn't play third base in between that time. Ross hasn't addressed it like these last couple of days, but I think that's definitely something that they're going to look at after tonight, after those two throws. I mean, there was that one, obviously that error, but then even the one that PJ kind of saved him. I think that might have been in the first inning when PJ, obviously jumped off the base, grabbed him, and was able to get Jonathan India right into first. I mean, it's just, that's definitely something I think there will be addressed more. I mean, maybe I can look into it myself a little bit. But I do think it's hard and everyone kind of talks about. I know Ross has talked about it can be difficult, obviously for a young guy, not just for anyone to move around the field as much as Morel has, but a guy that's broken at, I think he's 23 years old right now. Just how hard that can be to be asking a guy who's still trying to get his footing, didn't really play in AAA, and then now he's up in the majors already. He's that young, and he's trying to figure out how to play up to 6 different positions at the major league level. Like it is a difficult task, but I know, he's always working out there. He's out there every day taking ground balls. Obviously, Andy Green's out there with him, hitting him ground balls and stuff. I want to say he was working with Franmil maybe today or yesterday. But it's one of those things. Yeah, hasn't like straight up been addressed to me. But that's definitely something that needs to be looked into because those throws were obviously not good, and this isn't the first time. It's not the anomaly. Like he's had some trouble with the throws from third base. We've seen it, and I'm sure that that's something that they're, not only that have they seen it, I guarantee they're working to address it for sure.
I mean, it's been noticeable, and another thing to consider is you've seen more of it right now. As he's, like you said, he's gone to another different position, but it's also while he's been struggling at the plate. And young players specifically can a lot of times, if you're struggling at the plate, take it out into the field. The focus is lost a little bit. So let's not forget that he just turned 23 this season.
Yeah.
And some of that can also be moving around, like Ryan was saying, and some of it can just be mental lapse because he's focused on, I'm not doing well at the plate. How am I getting back to doing what I was doing before? You got a lot going on right now, and that's all part of playing early in your career.
Yeah, and I think, what Ryan said with him being 23, moving around a lot, and even struggling at the plate. I know Brendan and I talked about that over the weekend. Like, a lot of this stuff is to be expected. It's part of the process, and it's okay. Just in a game where it wasn't, as you said, Luke, not that exciting. That seemed like something I was just curious if they had any thoughts. I don't know if you used those exact words.
I said it was one of the 10 most boring games of the season, yes.
Yeah, just curious if, more in the perspective of, how do they help him? He's being asked a lot, to finish out the season. So how do they help him kind of end this season in a good place on the field mentally? But, yeah, I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah, especially with how much he's at third base right now. I know Wisdom is, I want to say he hit in the cage today. So that return may be coming in the near future, and then Morel moves back to kind of places he's been a little more successful or been a little more comfortable in. But for now, he's obviously still one of those guys that's going to keep getting those shots at third base, and they'll again for sure try to figure out how to control that, because I don't know, it's maybe young Javi kind of thing, where just really trying to make the plays, and sometimes it doesn't go right. Maybe you saw it, the one that he kind of threw or pulled PJ off the bag. He made a really good play on the ball, and then the throw just wasn't there.
Right.
So, I mean, it again comes with being young like that, but definitely something they're going to be working on addressing for sure.
It's weird because like that was what we were told was like his position.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm actually surprised to see the struggles that he's having at third, considering what we've seen at center and what we've seen at second at short. I think a lot of it is kind of like what Luke said, you know, struggling at the plate, young guy, you know, probably the most games he's ever played in a season. Like, that's not an excuse or anything. Like, he knows he's got to be better. I'm just limiting my expectations. I mean, he's already outperformed anything that we expected this year if he were to actually
way
come up.
Outperformed
I
it.
think at this point you're just hoping he finishes the season strong. He's got another hit tonight, so that's 2 hits in the last 2 days. And you go into the offseason with him, and you're thinking that, all right, this is what he's got to improve on. This is how he's going to have to get better at the plate, and maybe, just maybe, you can develop your own Chris Taylor. I don't know, but that's what you hope that you can eventually do.
Yeah, definitely.
And if there's a game that you would lose focus on as a young player, it's against the Reds tonight. Let's just be honest.
Like the rest of us.
I'm not going to shame him for that. Yeah. I lost focus many times during this game.
We all lost focus. I mean, shit, we were sitting on the couch talking about signing Aaron Judge and crap like that like half the night.
Who you got tonight? It was landslide this time.
Corey. I want to say Corey kind of came at me a little hostile a few minutes ago. I came out here ready 100% to say Corey won this.
There's no choice tonight, Ryan.
Yeah.
You can't pull any of your shenanigans tonight. It's all me. It's me and the Franimal, baby.
No. There's no shenanigans. I don't come on here and say, oh, Nico got a hit, but he also played 9 innings at the hardest position on the field.
He's still going. He's still trying to work it. I'll just describe it as the atrocious, egregious error last night must be corrected.
I do feel like, you know, I do feel like it's my second Who You Got win. I would have liked a sound effect, you know what I mean, from the board, you know, the horn or something. But
we don't do that here because you just took the lead on me. Can't have that.
Say,
yeah,
it's
personal with Kevin.
Corey leads. He has 2 points on the year. He is ahead of Kevin, who has 1.5. Joey, who somehow got 1. And then Maverick has 1 because of vibes. And when our friend Rachel from the UK was here, she magically won that day. It was all meant to be. So,
and look, the good sport that I am, Ryan is accusing me of being a Stuckey Nation devotee, which I am. But I got my Saya shirt on. That was Cody's guy tonight. It's not even my guy. I'm supporting the Cubs. Ryan is the one out here that's so divisive.
Stan Miller has now gone to Team Corey.
Well, because of Ryan being so divisive, everyone is turning on me, thinking that I didn't want to give Stuckey the win last night because it would have made him closer to my leading score.
That is factual.
And there's nothing factual about that. The only thing factual about it is if it's spelled FAX.
Here's the facts. Here's the facts.
There's no facts.
Going into Friday, I was 2 points behind Mr. Delmendo. In reality, I was 1 point behind Mr. Delmendo because of Maverick. The Maverick point adds on to the Stuckey, and it's the same person. We all know it's the same person. I know it seems like
in a court of law. I don't know. There's been cases.
You have literally said into that microphone.
Which puts me within one. So what happened Friday? We had the same 2 for 4. He left 2 more guys on base, and they together decided to steal a point and push me back and let Ryan move up because Cody knows that Ryan will never catch him. So what happened last night? What happened last night was the same thing. Ryan comes up with some BS, about a couple little flares that he hit. My guy has a home run and drives in 3 runs, and Cody looks around and is like, "Oh crap! In reality, Stuckey's one behind me. Like I better do." I think Ryan wins, and the chat goes. Whoa, the chat just explodes.
There's an accusation of a collusion being thrown
There's
around
100%
here right
collusion
now.
here.
Okay.
Luke,
And
you are
Brendan,
completely off base. You are out of your
that-
mind. Brendan, all I did was I didn't give any argument. I got on here, and all I said was, Brendan's here. He joined the show. Let him pick. You said all right.
Yes.
Luke, and Brendan
Stan,
picked me.
Stan,
You said
Stan.
all completely
That
I,
opposite.
is-
I said I
that
wanted to hear what he
Brendan
had to
is
say.
the one
No.
who picked it.
I
Go back
didn't.
and listen.
I
You
didn't
said all
know
right,
that
all
Brendan
right,
was being
all
bought.
I don't know that Brendan is
He wasn't.
impartial. Brendan and Ryan have teamed up on
That's right.
excellent articles that you can read at allchgo.com.
That is correct. That is correct.
I don't know if Brendan is impartial. That's all I'm saying. Ryan and Brendan are
That's
an
right.
excellent
And
team.
I had poked fun that we may have had to do a wellness check on him, and it hurt him a little bit, hurt his feelings. He went all the way to California, hurt his feelings, and he decided to take it out on the integrity of the game.
No, me
So-
and Brendan, strictly professional friendship. Doesn't who you got does not be affected by it. Just when we're writing, that's when magic happens. But outside of the writing, it's how you doing? I hope you had a good day.
Here's $5.
Let's talk about
extremely
Kyle Hendricks' slider.
Yeah, let's-
stuff like that.
Exactly. That's,
Yeah.
that's about it.
Let's talk sliders.
That's
Here's
about
$5. I'll send you a Venmo. Listen, Rhonda is the biggest Ryan fan. Luke is all she can say.
Well, I also don't as
Yeah.
even though I'm a founding member of Stuckey Nation, I don't want to distract from the fact that I won tonight. Me and
you won,
Franmil Reyes, 2 hits.
You did win.
Ripped them.
Absolutely, you
Both,
won.
I think, 105
Oh,
miles
you
an
deserve
hour
And
or
yet
more
Ryan
off the
tried
bat.
to steal it again.
Yeah, the first one was
In
108.
what way? Oh,
Jack,
all right,
justice
all
for
right,
Stuckey. That should be a hashtag that
This is hilarious.
free Luke. Yes.
And Luke is trying to say that I tried to steal anything today because Cody. Let's go back a few weeks.
Well, look, did you see how he went to Cody right away? Did you see how he went right to Cody for the help?
Hey,
And
how about
Cody's
you
just
let me
sitting there
talk?
with the hat
How about you let me
backwards,
talk?
like he just ate the canary. Like, yep, I
How
know
about you
Ryan
let me
can't
talk,
catch me.
Luke? See, Luke, you keep trying to talk over people. It's not going to work. We're going to go back a few weeks when the Cubs were playing a Friday night game in San Francisco, I want to say. And the game took a while. Maybe
We
it
don't know
was
where the
Los
game was
Angeles. The game took a while. It was 1 a.m. I think me and Cody had pretty much decided we both were one of us two had won. And Luke said, no, I stayed up too late. I deserve a point for staying up this late. And you know what? We gave it to him. We gave him the point. So Luke
Interesting.
is up here,
Interesting.
and then when clearly he loses other days.
So you were trying to
he
take a
comes
point
out
back for me staying up late? Is that what you're trying to do?
He did try to take
Oh.
a point one time because he took Contreras and he said that Contreras had a hit and he plays the toughest position in the field.
Well, that is true. He does play the toughest position in the field.
So while
You tried to convince
while
me that Nick
Luke,
Madrigal
while
was
Luke-
driving baseballs
while
yesterday.
Luke is going to spew conspiracy theories the last 24 hours on the internet, not only here but on the internet.
Those are facts. Those are facts.
yeah.
I'm just repeating what the chat
FAX
knows.
facts. All right.
Free
If
Luke,
he's gonna
justice for
spew 'em-
Stuckey.
If he's going to spew them, then I mean, it's only fair that Ryan brings those up. And again, what Ryan said about last night, Brendan picked
Jack,
it. I
respect
just
your
said my
elders, Ryan.
opinion.
Yep,
I didn't
yep.
choose. I had no part in choosing. I was just giving my opinion.
Oh, he had a choice.
I
All right.
just
He
want to
had a
note
choice.
that of all the times that I've been in the studio, this is
Also,
the
the
most
Twitter poll said
uncomfortable I
that
felt
I
in the
won.
middle
Do
chair.
you know what happened
It's
after the
heated
show
in
last
here.
night?
It is heated in this
We
studio.
got up and Sarah goes, wait a minute. Sarah was producing, we didn't tell her anything. She just had selected. Luke won Who You Got, put it on the graphic. We got up and started walking away, and Sarah goes, wait a minute. You didn't win Who You Got? How didn't you win? And I said, Sarah, where the hell were you 10 minutes ago?
I put that in the Slack. I heard that as you guys were leaving.
I said they
heard
were
it,
trying
but-
to steal it, and you were over there not saying anything. So this is what is going to happen. And it's a difficult night for me because I'm all about the integrity of the game. And we started Who You Got as something that was going to be fun for the CHGO fans, for the chat, for us to all be partners, one team, choosing and rooting for one team. So I've decided this will be my final season ever of Who You Got. And I have spoken to the commissioner's office due to the integrity of the game being lost by multiple parties who have decided to ruin the game and the integrity of the game. The commissioner's office has told me they would like me, like Theo Epstein, to take over as the commissioner of Who You Got for next season because they are concerned about the integrity of the game, the following of the rules, and the way it is being handled. So it's against everything in my competitive nature not to want to compete in this. But if people are not going to be fair and treat the game right, and treat each other right, I'm going to have to rise above and be the person, the overlord, that oversees the entire process, because the integrity of the game comes before winning.
Ryan, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a glimmer of a tear, in Luke's eye right now.
So, Rhonda, despite you don't want me to have to give up, I'm not giving up. I'm doing this for the game. I'm doing this for you.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Stucky. Let's get that trending. Let's get that hashtag trending.
Can we get Andy Bernard?
When it comes down to,
can we get Andy Bernard singing "I Will" or "I Will Remember You" now? After that, I need Andy Bernard from The Office singing "I Will Remember You." Thank you.
In terms of people, like Luke's claiming that Brendan was bought for who you got votes. I'm like, if Luke's commissioner, he will easily be bought for who you got votes next year.
The integrity of the game comes first, Ryan.
Yep.
And as commissioner, we will have to have a separate discussion in the offseason about possible transgressions and penalties that could be paid forward in the future seasons.
I think
look at this. Joel Martinez, dictatorship. Thank you, Joel.
I think that next year
it's going to be.
I think next year the rule is the producer chooses who wins. Thank you.
Didn't we start doing that earlier in the season? And just
if we go with that, I would have won, because the producer did pick and put a star by my head. I just throwing it out. See, Stan, penalties are necessary. That is correct.
But you guys okayed with Brendan picking last night.
Yep.
Nobody should be okay with Brendan picking or doing anything, frankly.
Nobody should be okay with the integrity of the game being questioned.
I think also what we've learned is we really need the Cubs to be good at baseball.
Listen, we've already had one man on this set tonight say he's okay with steroids, which, of course, is the integrity of the game. And so what's to think that he would not be taking payoffs from
and
Mr.
using
Ryan Herrera.
That money on PointsBet.
That's right.
Maybe I need to run this thing next year. How about it? Then you can keep playing, and we don't have to do a retirement tour for you.
I think I have to stick with the commissioner has asked for, and that is for me to oversee. It hurts me. It hurts me.
Now, who's the current commissioner?
There is no commissioner right now. That's the problem. There is no commissioner.
We got to vote on the commissioner. We got to vote on rules. I'm going to get a whiteboard, and we're going to use it.
Whiteboard's too erasable.
Again, 2 hits tonight. I did win tonight. Whatever the rules are in the future, we'll never forget this. We're going to be
sitting.
As commissioner, as future commissioner, I agree with that.
Thank you, Stucky Nation.
As future commissioner, I give Corey the full point for tonight.
We're going to be doing this podcast in 2 months.
Earned that win today. Corey 100% earned his point today. No doubt about it. Didn't even come in.
Me and the Franimal, baby.
Wanting to argue.
We're going to be doing this podcast in 2 months, and Luke is going to bring this night up.
And yesterday, too.
Difficult night. I know a lot of my followers are going to be very disappointed not to have me in Who You Got. Stan, I'm disappointed for you. I feel your pain. Stucky Nation, feel for you as well.
Once again, the Twitter poll picked me. So,
but again,
that was wild.
And then we had the Twitter poll. That shamockery.
Completely rigged, yeah.
Completely rigged shamockery.
Well, that's what you wanted. You wanted a poll, Stucky. You wanted that after all your other excuses.
Corey Nation, Stucky Nation, forever. Thank you, Stan.
I disagree that the Sox guy should not pick. Sox guy should not pick winners.
I'm cool. I'm cool being my own nation. It's cool.
Michael Collada wants to be commissioner. Now that is a possibility.
Yes. We'll be in touch. I like that.
Well, send your resume.
The Ricketts lose every night if Michael Collada is commissioner. In last place, the Ricketts every night. Until this offseason when they sign Aaron Judge and Xander Bogaerts and Carlos Correa, right?
Yeah. Jared says, Luke, you aren't old enough to pull a boomer move like this, and I'm Stucky Nation.
There's no picture, Jared. We can't be. This could be a bot that Ryan could be making right at Wrigley Field right now. There's no photo.
Max
Cody
says,
Nation vibes are immaculate.
Vibes are immaculate.
That's true.
That is true. We are always vibing in this house.
The thing is, Luke, the way you know that it's not me as a bot. I would never ever type out the words "I'm Stucky Nation." I don't care if it's to try to fool you. I will never put those words. Those words will never come out of my mouth.
Frankly, as one of the leaders of Stuckey Nation, he's not welcome in Stuckey Nation.
No,
so
he's not welcome.
If you want to join
like
or not,
I said,
it's
there
not
are
up to you.
transgressions that have to be addressed. And again, we're supposed to believe that Cody and Ryan are not in on this together, yet they met after the game near Wrigley Field last night.
We did not
as
meet.
admitted.
They had a rendezvous. They had a rendezvous.
They
We did not
rendezvoused
meet.
after the
I
game.
drove past his car at
And there was
15.5
one
miles
report-
per hour.
There was at least one report on a police scanner of a guy on a scooter rolling towards the north side yelling, "I stole a point. I stole a point."
With a big bag full of money.
That's right.
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. Yelling from the scooter. So
All right. Well, I
that's
guess
it. We're going to wrap
I
it
guess
up.
the rest of the way, it's me versus Ryan because Stuckey says he's done.
No. I'm in this
Next
season.
year.
Oh, but you're done.
This
next
is my
year.
final season of
Your
Who You
final
Got.
season. All right.
Yep.
You know what it is? He thinks he's gonna retire on top. He thinks he's gonna go out like Tom Brady almost. did or
I'm
whatever.
staying in
Well,
this season because I am not a quitter, and I have told my fans that this will be for them. I will dedicate my bid, although I will be going against many things.
All right. I will say that at least this retirement tour is not extremely fraudulent like some others.
Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and I will all be retiring in the same season,
possibly Adam Wainwright.
which makes us all eligible for the Hall of Fame at the same time.
Well, at least two of you are deserving, Luke.
Reds beat the Cubs 7-1 in one of the 10 most boring games of the season, and I will soon be retiring from Who You Got. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs post-game show podcast. What?
We didn't hit 80 viewers. Let's try again tomorrow.
Didn't get to 80 viewers.
Well, I'll give away a free shirt.
Thanks to
From
Team
the
Corey
CHGO locker.
for coming in. Congratulations
Try
on
again
your
tomorrow.
authentic win tonight on Who You Got.
Thank
and,
you, Luke.
of course, as always, fly the W.